Alright, I'm gonna give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Waka'akwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone of Yashael, Yasha Allah, Salakia, Yasha Allah being Hebrew for Israel. Them who rule well, double honors to them. And the rest of you brothers out teaching in sincerity and truth, and the true names of Yahweh, while Yahweh Shai, Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. This is your brother Shariat and Awasai coming back, and peace and blessings to the faithful elect out there. You know, you staying 10 toes down. Shalom Barak Ha'aman Bachiyar Yasha Allah. All right, this lesson is quick watch, some edification, exhortation. Whatever you could take out of this is only out to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You know, because you are all actually the Israelites. You're the children of God. This is why everybody hates you, because you're actually cursed, and it's been placed upon you. You know, but any more further ado, we pretty much you know, this is something that just came across. You know what I'm saying, my path real quick, and it's spiritual, man. You got these goats who have said to have invaded a California neighborhood. Stay out here, make sure they go out. You know what's spiritual about this? This is during a lockdown, right? Which is pretty much brewing. The chip is already here, which is the mark of the beast. The RFID chip is the mark of the beast. It's brewing that to where once they're done perfecting it, it will be made mandatory. This coronavirus is helping cook that up. It's a brew. You know what I'm saying? It's like the situation right now is it's really the Lord's wash pot, because it all started with Moab, and the wash pot is a big pot you can cook in. You know, which is, you know, very fitting for the devil during his rulership, being so-called Esau. Salaki being the so-called white man, which is Esau, because he deals with witchcraft, you know. So that's that big pot, you know. And in a pot, you know, Jake uses wash pot, so you can understand it. Something I've been wanting to edify on, but pretty much you can clean with a wash pot and you can cook in that same pot. So the Lord is cleaning up this place, and He's cooking. He's brewing up. He's cooking up, and through His sword of the earth, being, you know, Esau, the counterpart to Jacob, you know, which is actually a duality that represents the two forces, opposing forces on the earth, being, you know, light and dark, good and bad, you know, goats and sheep. He is through him, Esau, the Most High, being Yahweh, the Heavenly Father. That's his true name, not God. His name is actually Yahweh, and his position is God, the Most High. He's actually using through his puppet, the so-called white man Esau, who represents bad, to basically play chemist, you know, play witch, his witchcraft, you know, and get into that spirit really heavily, you know, to where, like I said, the things that's being cooked up in this big wash pot, aka Esau's witchcraft pot, you know, is outright the end of his world, and the things that's in it, like I said, is the making of the RFID chip, which is in truth the mark of the beast, right? In truth and sincerity, and in fact the mark of the beast, all right, and it being made mandatory, and also what I've taken out of this, when those troops come in, man, martial law. This coronavirus lockdown is brewing up a chip being put inside, you know, being made mandatory to be put inside all you so-called Negroes, so-called blacks, whichever one you want to pick, so-called Latinos, you so-called Native American Indians, and the rest of the inhabitants, you know, on this earth, you know, that's under the rulership of the so-called white man, you know, because this is his society, you know. And also you being rounded up due to him deeming the times to that we're under, you know, evil. evil, bad times, the bad times that we are under to be worthy, to be deemed worthy enough for him to outright take you out of your homes and put you in concentration camps. You know, the true Holocaust, these FEMA camps. Now, saying in a nutshell, this is spiritual because everything I just said about the spirit is going into duality, promises, which are the prophecies that have to take place, and the so-called white man being used to do it, and what he actually represents and stands for in truth, according to the scriptures, the Bible. And I'm gonna get this. So right here I have a scripture really quick. This is Matthew 25, and I'm gonna start at 31. When the Son of Man, who is the Son of Man, Yahushua, shall come in his glory. Right, in his glory. Because when he was here, he wasn't in his glory. Right? He was spit on, he was made a laughing stock, he was defamed, he was reviled, he was ridiculed, so he was at an all-time low, but now when he comes back, he said to come back. That's a promise, that's a prophecy in the scripture. According to this, we're looking at it, we're reading one on it, right? He's going to come back in his glory, and all the angels, Salaki, and all the holy angels with him, right? Being the 7 angels you may read about if you ever read the book of Revelation, being the 4 angels, that we all know of, that's been revealed: Gabriel, Uriel, Ma'aka'Allah, and forget the other angel's name, Salakia. It says, I believe it's 4, maybe 3, if I'm not mistaken, but we know those, right? Gabriel, Uriel, did I say Uriel? Ma'aka'Allah, and I forget the fourth. But anyway, moving on, Salaki. It says, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. So at that point, he's going to come back. He's going to come back with his angels, Yahushua, who people eagerly call Jesus, and he's going to sit upon the throne of his glory, man. And before him shall be gathered all nations. So everybody that wants to, keeping that theme going, being the melting pot, being that pot, right? You believe that's what God should make it all about, us just getting together and just, he's gonna do it. He's gonna veto that. You're gonna get that opportunity of knowing that he wants that. He's gonna co-sign that, not with the same intentions though, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divided his sheep from the goats. Now right here, we was going into, before I got to the scripture, what the so-called white man represents. He represents the goats. This is talking about the goats first and foremost, because you got sheep and you got goat. Now, really quick, let me go ahead and go to it. When you go into this, just going by the spirit, it's going to tell you right here, pretty much, for people who may be delusional, it says goats are naturally curious and independent, right? So that's one thing to take notice of. While sheep tend to be more distant and aloof, sheep have a stronger flocking instinct and become very agitated if they are separated from the rest of the flock. Right? So you got two differences right there. Goats are independent, right? That's so Esau right here, he fits this, so-called white man fits this, because you have this thing right here called right? Let's see who quoted that. It says, the lema is a social or spiritual philosophy, right? Which is where this quote derives from. Developed in the early 1900s by Aleister Crowley, right? An English writer, mystic, and ceremonial magician, right? So right there, we know this got to not be attached to the Father, because it tell you in the scriptures, just going by the Spirit, according to the Lord's protocol on how one should govern themselves and how we should be living life. But this was given to the Israelites, right? It says, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live, right? So let's go into that really quick and get back to the point. When you go into that word, we're gonna go into suffer, and we're gonna go into witch. Let's go into witch. Kashapa.
Strong's H 3784. Kashaf.
Kashap, right? Kashapa, that's how you pronounce each individually. If you merge the last two, you have Kashap. Kashap. It says to practice witchcraft or sorcery. Use witchcraft. A sorcerer or sorceress, which would be a female witch, right? It says to whisper a spell, to enchant or practice magic. See that? So this guy wouldn't be suffered to live. He's not supposed to be. We're gonna get suffer after this, to pray, to offer, or worship, right? So we know, according to this so far, he's not dependent on what the fathers say. So he would be independent, right? So that fits that goat. It says the word for suffer is chaya.
Strong's H 2421. Chaya.
It says to live, have life, remain alive. Right? To live, have life, remain alive. So the Lord sustain life, live prosperly, live forever, be quick and be alive, be restored to life or health. So you're supposed to take away that person's life, man. You're supposed to take away his liberty to live prosperously, to live prosperously, to live forever. You're supposed to take away that license on that, man. Being an Israelite, it says to have life, to continue in life, remain alive, right? So that's what you're supposed to do. Chaya, he's supposed to, that's spiritual. Because right when you about to put the move on somebody, you know what I'm saying? Jake like karate in the martial arts, A lot of brothers believe by the Spirit Bruce Lee to be a Jake, But anyway, we was the samurais and etc. But anyway, it says by the Spirit, the word for suffer is chaya. So right when you about to put the move on somebody and finish them, what do they say? Hayah. 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 You know what I'm saying? That's power, man. That's powerful. So you supposed to cut them off right then and there. You get a chop and you just end it. You would come down, finish him. As soon as he's proven himself to he's proved to you thou, which is an Israelite, right? It says and God spake all these words in Exodus 20, the first chapter. And God, or the power, spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh, thy power. Right? So he's talking to Israel, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Right? So there you go, man. He's talking to Israelites on this, because the Israelites are the nation of Israel is who the Lord brought out of bondage, man. But it's him. But anyway, back to it. So it says, Exodus 22:18, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. So the thou being those he brought out of the nation, those of the nation that he brought out of Egypt, right? Being the nation of Israel. So Israelites would be the thou right here. Once an Israelite, if you're an Israelite, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, once you see somebody, practicing, we can't do it now because it say all things, those things be lawful, all things are not expedient. You'll get locked up forever. So this is once we're in the kingdom and things is back to the dictatorship of the world, of the earth, as a whole, right? The world being organizational society, right? Once that starting with that is back under our dictatorship, then we'll be able to apply this. We'll be able to govern the world, the society, which expands out to the entire earth, because we're going to take over more than just a society. This is supposed to govern the whole earth of all inhabitants, right? Then you're going to be able to come down, chaya, you know what I'm saying, and put them to death. So that guy is a so-called white man right here. Now, when we go back, it tell you that the nature, goats are naturally curious and independent. So he will be independent of, let's get the word for independent. It says independent. It says free from outside control, not depending on another's authority. So he's not dependent on the Father, the creator of heaven and earth, the authority, man, who's proven himself in times past and is actually doing it now. So he governs him. He governs the so-called white man. He likes to govern himself, as it says goats are. Right? Him being a so-called white man, he has shown he likes to govern himself. He's also passed that philosophy down to other so-called white people, right? Mainly, right? And other non-Israelite people, right? Non-Israelites, being non-blacks, non-so-called Latinos, and non-so-called Native American Indians. And then if he has got some of you who actually are Israelites, you're just going off right now, like Jay-Z. We're going to go into it. It says goats are naturally curious and independent, right? So he fits that criteria, man. While sheep tend to be more distant and aloof, sheep have a stronger flocking instinct and become very agitated if they are separated from the rest of the flock. That's why the Lord didn't take one man out of Egypt. He took a nation, but and not the so-called white man, because that nation will be likened unto a flock, sheep, and that's what the children of Israel are compared to spiritually. And we're showing you that Esau, who was actually the so-called white man, who's calling himself the so-called white man, the Edomites, right? They are the representation of the goats that's talked about in that book of Matthew, in that chapter of the book of Matthew. The Lema is a social or spiritual philosophy developed in the early 1900s by Aleister Crowley, an English writer, mystic, and ceremonial magician. The word Thelema is the English transliteration of Koine Greek noun oinoa, will, from verb oiawa. But I don't know if I'm reading those right. Oeanoa, will, right? The verb oeawa, to will, wish, want, or purpose. But this is where you get do as thou will, man. See that? So-called white people, man. These are Israelites. Salaki. These are Edomites. Right? From appearance. But we know by the spirit that that's how you actually judge all things. And that's Aleister Crowley right here. This is what you get do as thou wilt. So Esau is a goat. He was given a goat complex in spirit in comparison. So-called white man was given a goat complex, a goat-like spirit in comparison to so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. That's why Latinos pile up in houses. You know, that's why, you know, and all of the tribes, you so-called blacks, Latinos, you all are Native American Indians. You all pile up together. You stay in flocks. You know, and you know, you basically become very agitated if you can't live like that because you're the Israelites, right? One for all for one. But that's how we get down. But you got the so-called white man who he pushes do as thou wilt. So every man for himself, man. But the scriptures tell us, right? Yahushai, who actually came to earth, he told men to love thy brother as thyself, man. So it ain't about no damn do as thou wilt, you know. And that's what the Lord said. If Satan's house be divided against you, you got a house of goats, but they're all divided. They don't come together collectively. They do it's all individual. You know what I'm saying? They're not walking necessarily with the same intent for each other. You know what I'm saying? They're just doing as thou wilt. So that's the only thing they agree on. But the Lord said, if Satan's house be divided, representing those goats, why do you think you get? Let's prove it. You know, let's really go into this thing real quick. I ain't even want to go this far. Baphomet, right? Why you think it has a goat head, man? You know? The goat of Mendez, because that goes into do as thou wilt, you know what I'm saying, and the so-called white man's philosophy, man. You know, that's what they deal with, man. It's what they get into, you know. It's a goat. It's a goat deity, man. You know. But that's pretty much on that. I don't want to get too deep in this. But anyway, so we're showing you that it's a duality that has been put on the earth. This is why that says that in the scriptures, because it's what people liken unto the yin and yang, right? Which is spiritual, because like I said, we're talking about duality, right? Yin and yang is what color? It's white and black, right? See what we get on this. This is what the so-called white man has incited. Well, Salaki, he has enticed. You know, it's black, the race issue, black and white, but no one's black and white. But that what did that show you? It's a duality that they're actually talking about. Let's get it real quick. That's what's going on here. It's a duality that he's inciting. You know what I'm saying? It says okay. Let me see. This is where it all go back to. Genesis 25:21. And Isaac entreated the Lord Yahweh for his wife because she was barren. So when she was barren, she was fruitless. She had no substance. Pretty much, you know, within herself, because that's kind of, you know, women's purpose. You know, a big point of their purpose, right? To bear fruit. It says in the form of you know, children. But anyway, it says and Yahweh was entreated of him in one way, you know, to bear fruit. But that's mainly it. But anyway, and Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. So Isaac, he basically got granted what his request from the father. Yahweh was keeping it simple, and the children struggled together within her. So wait a minute, she was barren and she ended up conceiving. But let's read that again, verse 22. And the children, that's going into plural, more than one. And the children struggled together within her. So she had twins. See, that's how the Lord worked. You know what I'm saying? His abundance with him. You know, but that's more than one. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. So pretty much she could have been perceiving that it was just one child. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, you know, we had ultrasound then, you know. It said, and Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people. But why? Because these manner of people, and then why is it 2 to start off with? Because it was going to go on for them to bring the duality of the balance, aka balance of what has to always be on earth, which is good and bad. It says, because the Lord deals with balance, man. Let me get this real quick, and I'm gonna jump back. This just for any like first time listeners. It says a false balance. Proverbs 11:1. A false balance, right? So a false balance is abomination to the Lord, to Yahweh, but a just weight is His delight. So is of even measure. It's not too much or something. The balance is supposed to be. Because you can have a balance, and you have balance in strong and weak. Everything is in balance. It's not supposed to be just one thing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one thing if you got even strength all throughout the earth. That's a false balance. You know, so it has to be 2 opposing forces as far as what it means as far as balance. That's how the Lord deals. You know what I'm saying? It says as far as what we're talking about right here. So the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, right? 2 nations are 2 complete different descendants. This is where you get your yin and yang, because it's going into the balance of a dualistic natures that are needed, right? Counterparts, man. It says, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bow, and the one shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger, right? So there you go, man. So that's the balance right there. That's the duality he wanted. He wanted one being strong and the other being basically weak. Being weaker, stronger, weaker, you know. And ultimately, when you keep going, it tell you right here what the natures was. 27, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. And Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in the tents. So that was basically the properties each party represented. One party represented cunningness. When you go into cunning, that was Esau. Esau was cunning. See, and Esau was cunning. So Esau was your die. He was your die.
Strong's H 3045. Yadah.
So it says to know, to learn, to know, to perceive. Not really, because you can know, but what do you know? You can see, but what do you see? You perceiving, but what do you perceive? You know, you're skillful, but what and what? Because it says how to be skillful. Because he was a skillful hunter. That's spiritual. So we can use that, but we're gonna also get another meaning. So that's what Esau cunning goes into. It goes into to know, to perceive, being cunning. Also goes into skill. And let's go into hunter then. Food supply, hunting, game hunted. And which is what this is. This is the main point of what I was going into with this quick watch, this quick lesson. Now it says, let's go into, and we're gonna get the definition on cunning and the synonyms for cunning, so we can really show you this clean, even kill. So before I get Jacob, let's get that then. Cunning. Watch this. See that? What does it say? They don't want you to see that in the Bible. See that? Because Esau is actually the scholars behind the meanings that we get, and certain things cut him, you know. But that's why you have to do a little more, you know, diligence for things that you may feel by the Spirit to not be right, you know, or not coincide with what makes sense, you know, through the Spirit, as far as talking to you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Cunning, it says having or showing skill in achieving one's ends by deceit or evasion. And what's the synonyms? It says similar, crafty, woolly, artful, guileful, devious, sly, scheming, tricky, slippery, slick, manipulative, Machiavellian, you know. And I believe that goes in, no, that's something else. But that kind of go into it too. That's a so-called theory. But anyway, it says deceitful, deceptive. And we know this to be true because he governs the earth, right? You got this thing called the Hegelian dialectic, which actually kind of goes into him understanding that you need balance. Like you got the Republican Party and you got the Democratic Party. But really what they don't tell you, they the same thing, because you're both ultimately fighting for the same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's the illusion of thinking is different. And that's how Esau is very cunning. And I'm gonna just get that since I mentioned it, you know. Inventive, it says imaginative, he's sneaky, fiendish. That's what all these words go to, man. See? See? A cunning person is willing, Salakia, to subtlety, subtly, subterfuge, and trickery. Is willing to use subtlety, subterfuge, and trickery to manipulate others and get what she wants. You know? See? Cunning is more negative, meaning good at deceiving people. So that's how Esau was actually, you know, cunning. And if you don't believe, see? Guileful, a supremely guileful and deceptive politician. Who are the politicians, man? You see that? Who deals with it? That's the Spirit, man. So-called white man. Let's see. Let's get that real quick. Machiavellian, cunning, scheming, unscrupulous, especially in politics. A whole range of outrageous Machiavellian, basically maneuvers. Let's get one more. Scheming, given to or involved in making secret and underhanded plans, which is what those goats by the Spirit, that's a spiritual sign for what's getting ready to happen. So it's a bunch of Edomites that just basically invaded by the time, because these are people who fit these goats 100%. Everything we just looked up to, they go into goats, man. They're independent, right? They don't depend on the authority of the Father, right? They are some people that actually the Father, he opposes. They go into witchcraft, being the do as thou wilt. And do as thou wilt also help improve that they're independent, right? You're not dependent on what the scriptures say. You know, what the book that's supposed to govern the earth. And then America tells you that they built their country off, you know, the Bible, you know. But that's that cunningness. Because who orchestrated the building of America? The so-called white man. But we know that so-called blacks, Latinos, or blacks, Latinos, Native American Indians and blacks built it. You know, I say Latinos, Native Americans, and blacks in that order because the Latinos, Native Americans were actually here first, and the blacks came later throughout the transatlantic slave trade. But you all actually representing the 12 tribes of Israel, man. You actually built this place, but it was orchestrated by the so-called white man. So he actually built it, you know? He built it too, because you don't want any parts and taking the credit for, you know, a deceitful, wicked, abominable building, man. Right? Once you recognize that you've been a part in building that, you want to let him have all that credit, you know? But anyway, so that's what that mean by that. Now let's get this Hegelian dialectic. So all these things, and guess what? So all these things, you know, do as thou wilt. The goat representing independence, a witch not being suffered to live. All those things, the so-called white man has in his nature, man. You know, and that a lot of those you found a lot of those traits out of that one so-called white man who pushed that philosophy to others, because he's like he's one of the founding fathers of Satanism, which we know is 100% of the dualistic nature of the earth. You know, that's just in them. It says Hegel's dialectic. Because I don't want to get too deep on it. I just want to get somebody who know, so I can just read it to you. Philosophy, right? It says, let's see. Pretty much, the Hegelian dialectic is what you get. This is a good look at it. It's kind of like, it's like what you see with the red versus blue. You know what I'm saying? They trying to make it deeper than what it is. It's the red versus blue, man. Red side versus the blue side. You know? But ultimately, it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, problem, reaction, solution, Hegelian dialectic agenda, one world religion, right? It's not even truly a balance. It's just one thing. You know, you had a artist by the name of Prodigy, who was an Israelite, so-called black man, who made an album on this. You know what I'm saying? And then he was ironically put to death, you know, by the father through the so-called white man, I believe. You know, because he supposedly was in the hospital for pretty much because he had a sickle cell crisis, and he supposedly choked on an egg. But then they end up trying to say it was he died of his sickle cell, which is rare. People don't really die from sickle cell. You know, Jakes, we just suffer infirmities our whole life, and then we just perish. You know. See, there you go, like the red and the blue. You know, the controllers have created a Hegelian dialectic. So it's kind of like a template to represent. It's like a so-called template for balance, but it's actually one thing. You know what I'm saying? That's what it goes into. You know, and that's what you recognize. So that's what you see with Democrats versus so-called Republicans. And who formed all these things? Who formed the Hegelian dialectic? So-called white man. Who formed the Republican versus the Democrats? So-called white man. Where did that come from? Rome, right? What did they have in Rome? The plebeians versus the publicans, right? The patras, if I'm not mistaken, it was the plebeians, it was the lower class, and then you had because the publicans was talking about the people, but it's the plebeians versus let me see, I gotta get it because I don't want to quote it wrong. Plebeians, I think it was either patras. The patras, which is the patricians. That's the word I was looking for. Patras goes into is basically a shorter form of the patricians, which is where you get your whole idea. See that red and blue again? Is where you get your whole idea of Republican versus Democrats, man. You know, today your Democrats, what is said to represent a Democrat would be a plebeian, and a Republican would be a patrician, man. So who's over that ancient Rome, so-called white man, man. And all these things point back to the nature of a goat, man. You know, a balance, right? Now, I'm gonna get one more scripture. We're gonna tie this home, and then I'm gonna get my point. It says, man, really, I can use that. I could just use this, but I want to get this first. You know what? No, let me get that. Let me go back to the point. Matthew 25 and 32. In fact, Salakia. Let me finish the point with Jacob. Now, so Esau is said to represent outright wickedness. Now, let's get Jacob. Let's prove that it's a duality on the earth, right? Because you get the same concept with the Lord talking about he's talking about he's coming back. It's written that he's gonna come back for another duality when you look into it, because goats and sheep, they look like the same thing, but they're actually completely different. That's why the Lord made it, because when you really look into them, they represent a complete balance. You know, you got goats, you got sheep, you got strong, you got weak, you got Esau, you got Jacob. Now, let's tie this thing home. It says, let me see. Okay, 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter. We went into that, a man of the field, right? The so-called white man. And Jacob, he loves the field. Duck Dynasty, you know what I'm saying? Mess with all the animals on Animal Planet, Discovery Channel, you know, these zoos, etc. Man, he loves the field. They hunt beavers, kill them. Hunting season, they do all of that. Elmer Fudd, so-called white man, man. Elmer Fudd gave it away. That's Esau. And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Now, when you go into that so-called word plain, it's not as plain as it seems, man. It says, Tom.
Strong's H 8535. Tom.
So Jacob was his property, right? As far as him being a party, he represented Thom, being Thom, right? Perfect, complete, perfect. One who lacks nothing in physical strength, beauty, etc. An ordinary, quiet sort of person. That sounds like sheep. See that? Complete, morally innocent, having integrity, one who is morally and ethically pure. So that's your balance. One represents deceitfulness, wickedness, guile, being manipulative, manipulating. The doers thou wilt spirit. You know, when you can't do that if you're a so-called white man, so-called black man, Native American man, or Indian. But somehow you got, because he's good. It said is it a negative word? It says when you're cunning, you're good at basically tricking people. See, do at what thou wilt. So, Jake, you got fooled, man. Because Esau that good at what he do. You know? Pyramid on his head. When you were the people that built those pyramids and that represented your slavery, you being under the ways of the heathen. Right? So that's that. So back to it. Perfect, complete. Perfect. One who lacks nothing in physical strength, beauty, etc. Sound, wholesome, and ordinary, quiet sort of person. Complete, morally innocent, having integrity, one who is morally and ethically pure. You know, let me be distinct because you got many types of Indians. But what was it? How you see this in all the people that we named, so Latinos and Native American Indians, man, they had a really long-term meat preservation, the Native American way, you know, very peaceful, wholesome, ethically and morally pure. Look how you dressed, you know, elegant, graceful, very humble, and then you look, you stuck together like sheep. You stuck together like sheep. You became very agitated. You know, you couldn't be together as a flock, man. See that? Why the Native Americans ultimately lost America? See that? Because you were conned out of America. In truth and reality, so-called white man came with peace, but then he turned on you. He lied. He came and shook your hand. He pulled out a gun. See that? Scaring the animals, using animals for his wickedness, his cunningness, to get what he wanted. He wanted the land. He wanted what you had. He wanted you. Because he's like, if I could control you, I don't even have to be taught by them. I could just control you and you can just do this. See that? Like sheep, flocks. So-called white man, he got that do as thou will spirit. Every man out for himself, man. They may be together, but they out for themselves, you know? It says how native people use every part of an animal for survival. You were complete. You were perfect. You are perfect. You know what I'm saying? Lacking nothing in physical strength or beauty. You know? Didn't say beauty. Very beautiful people. You know? And you wasn't doing it maliciously. You know, you did it for survival or for the purpose of how Earth worked. Native American Indians, you gotta get the real ones. We don't want to get no $5 Indians, man. Very beautiful people, man. It's your style, you know, the salt you have. You go back to Jake because you're Jacob. You are Jacob, right? You're the house of Jacob. We're the same people. So-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians are the same people. Like, how can it be right in your face and you just not see it? You don't get it. You're the same people. See that? Beautiful. Stones, you know, etc., man. You come in many different shapes, you know, sizes and etc., man. That's Jake. Long, beautiful hair. You know, it's the Lord knew what he was doing when he made Jacob and Esau, man. Period. You've been conned. But now you wearing suits like so-called white man because you are under his dictatorship, man. Now, so-called Latinos, man. Same thing. You flock together. You know, see, the spirit bears witness. You know, so-called blacks and Latinos, you're always together. You know, in bunches. Beautiful, complete people. You know, different shapes, sizes. You know, complexions. You know, but you got to be careful because Esau, he like sneaking in amongst you, amongst our people, trying to act like he's one of us. He's not, but we know by the spirit. You know. Okay. Beautiful, brown, smart people. You just been indoctrinated now. You know. You're complete, man. You lack nothing. We the best boxers, smartest. We look morally. All you deal with is morals and ethics, right? Cause you're Jacob. This went a lot further than I wanted to go, but you know it's about the spirit. Let's get a little more on you. You know, morally and ethically. You know. You tend to have stable families. You know that you're really about that. You know you save your daughter. You know it's a bunch of things. We go off. You know then this leads you to so-called blacks. You know but that's spiritual. See, that's Spanish. Right? Because we're the same people, man. Beautiful, lacking nothing. You know? See that? Esau not like this, man. Esau is not like this. You're making his ways beautiful. Red, white, and blue. You know? Because that's just how we roll. You know? We're complete, we're strong in beauty, we lack nothing. You know? Alright, now let me get so that's not you know, and that's spiritual right there. And you know the truth, you know? You know the truth. We the same people, man. Beautiful people. Morally and ethically right. You just been indoctrinated. You know, we all waiting on Yahushua. We not waiting on Caesar Ray Borgia. We're not supposed to be waiting on him, I should say. So some of us know, some of us don't. You know, I'm sure they're not teaching. You just never know about they're not teaching about Yahushua now. Because you wouldn't even be in the building. All these ways came from the so-called white man. The food, you have the number one foods on the earth, man. Everybody partakes into that. We're complete. That's because you're Jacob, man. You're Jacob. You are Jacob. You're heavy on produce. You know, really the food you push is kind of healthy. You know, without all the sodium. You know, so-called Latinos, man. You know? That's Jake, man. A lot of this stuff, it goes back to ancient stuff, man. You're Jacob. You know? Let's get one more thing. We have the most legendary boxers. You know, Marquez. I forget this this brother's name right here. Marquez on the right, and this is on the left. It'll come to me in a second. You know, Danny Garcia. You know what I'm saying? We keep going. Some of the top names you can think of, man. I'm mad I can't think of the other Jake name. You know? You know, De La Hoya. You know? But we got to be careful because we know Esau, he has snuck in amongst us. You know, really all the tribes. See a so-called black man, he might not even be a so-called black man or black person. He'd be an Edomite, you know, under our skin. You know, we could be under the nationality of what one would deem is to go back to the Israelites. He might be a so-called white man, so he might be Esau. You know, it's even more spiritual. But let me get to the point. See if I see this brother again. Think of his name. His name is forget his name, man. I forget his name to the left. He's basically one of the legends, man. And then this one of the new guys right here. You know, I ain't been watching boxing as much. Been really in the scriptures, so kind of rusty. But he wants to fight Gervonta Davis. You know. Then you just do this for that, you know. Morally, ethically right, not lacking anything. Obama, he's not a so-called black man, he's a Hamite. You know, Jake go off, you know. Let's just see on a bit. You know, we no one can stop, you know, what we do. See? Best leaders, inventors, warriors, in the athletic field, etc., man. Let's just do that, man. Jackie Robinson, you know, break barriers. You know what I'm saying? This is Jake. And this top, you know, we gave everybody the moments they can always remember in sports, you know. So that's what Jacob represents. So getting back to it, see that? So that's a duality. Why do only so-called Latinos, Native American people, and black people can bring that type of power to the earth, you know? And the so-called white people, they really have it in any way, shape, or form. And the things they try to act like they have done that in is actually history they have stolen from you, you know? So that's how we know them to be Esau. So Esau represents one thing, Jacob represents one thing. That's why they were so important in the scriptures, you know? Now, to the point. Matthew 25 and 32. It says, when the Son of Man, Salakia, 32, and before him, let me start over, when it's 31. When the Son of Man shall come, right? The ultimate Thom, right? The ultimate Jake, the ultimate Thom. You know, the ultimate spirit of Jake under Yahweh, you know, being Yahweh Shai. It says, in his glory, and all the angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. See, that's how you know he's a Jake. He goes back to Jacob. And before him shall be gathered all nations. So you're going to get that melting pot, you people, you heathens. You know, the melting pot of America. You're going to get the pot. It says it's going to be everybody going to be able to get put together, etc. And the power on high, the creator, how you feel he should feel, he's going to co-sign that. But it's not going to be with the same intention. And he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divided his sheep from the goat. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. See, balance, opposition, duality, right? It says, then shall say the king unto them on his right hand, because the Lord only deal with sheep. Come ye, blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. You see that? Now, let's find out who those sheep only are. Let's get Jeremiah 50 and 17. I'm gonna prove with two witnesses. Israel is a scattered sheep. See that? So Israel, man, the lions have driven him away. First, the king of Assyria have devoured him, and the last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon have broken his bones. Right? So Israel is that sheep, man. Let's jump back to the New Testament, because the Old Testament is done away with. All right, it says, Matthew 10 and 5. These 12, Jesus, right? Yeah, his name is Yahushua. There's nobody that ever existed called Jesus, right? Named Jesus. His name, this entity that this is talking about, this account of this person that this is actually referencing, he goes by the name Yahushua. Right? These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, because those Gentiles represent goats, but go rather to the lost sheep. Who are the sheep? Of the house of Israel. You see that? Yeah, Ezekiel 34 and 11. It says, For thus saith the Lord Yahweh power, or Lord power, behold, even I will both search my sheep and seek them out. See that? But we already done proved it. The Lord, he doesn't want the goat, because the goats represent the other side. Those that have that do as thou wilt spirit built into their anatomy, right? Because that's just how the Lord made them. Those that are of the house of Esau, the Edomites, you so-called white people, and the rest of you heathens. But that's pretty much it on that, man. The sheep are only talking about Israelites. Period. So, when you go back to this video, what is this telling you? Goats invade California neighborhood. So we just found out who the goats are. So we know that the goats is talking about Esau, right? Goats and sheep, two completely different. Goats are naturally curious and independent, while sheep tend to be distant and aloof. Sheep have a stronger flocking instinct and become very agitated if they are separated from the rest of the flock. A goat will rear up on his hind legs and come down forcibly to butt heads. Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you. Right? So woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil. Who's the devil? What does the devil mean? In Greek, it goes back to the word diablos, and that means deceiver, man. Right? Or one that opposes God. having great wrath, because he knoweth he hath but a short time. Let's get that word devil real quick. We're going to prove that's Esau, and it goes back into the goat. Watch this. Devil. Diablos.
Strong's G 1228. Diabolos. Diabolos.
It says prone to slander, slanderous, accusing falsely. See? That's that cunningness. That's that deceitfulness. A calumniator. It says false accuser, slander. You know? It says applied to a man, or Jacob and Esau. They were twin boys who became men. Man. Applied to a man by opposing the cause of God. Do as thou wilt. See that? May be said to act the part of the devil or to side with him. So the so-called white man acts as the part of the devil and sides with him. He opposes God instead. He says, do as thou wilt. He says, the Lima. You know what I'm saying? Hegelian dialectic. Republican, Democratic. None of that stuff is in the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? It opposes how things are supposed to be. Witchcraft. It opposes how things are supposed to be. You're not even supposed to live. You know? So this is what the so-called white man understands. He understands that he has, because this is talking about him. He's come down unto you, man, like those goats. He's getting ready to come down to you, having great wrath. Let's get that word wrath, man. This is all I wanted to bring out of this, and it just turned into, you know, the spirit, you know, but I wanted to go into all that. Because you people ain't gonna have an excuse, man. Thymos. Or thymos.
Strong's G 2372. Thumas. Thumas.
Meaning passion, angry, heat, anger forthwith, boiling up and soon subsiding again, right? Because he's ultimately going to get roused up. He's going to come down to you. He's going to pull you out of your homes. He's going to take all you got, right? And he's going to be brought down again, right? Because the Lord going to come back. And Jacob's going to rise up, you know, once the Lord rises up to the prey. Through you. Glow, ardor, but that's not the point. Right, and flaming wine. It says, which either drives the drinker mad or kills him with its strength. Right? So he's ultimately gonna come drunk off his own philosophy and his own anger. It's gonna destroy him. You know? Let me tell you that. In verse 2 of the 17th chapter, it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. You know, so Esau, you really like a girl, man. This place, this land that you inhabited and cunned out of the possession of so-called Latinos and Native American Indians is likened unto a woman, and you have just whored her out. And you've and all the philosophy you have built here and pushed out to the world, you know, or any false philosophy you have promoted here and pushed out even further to the world. You know, people here shouldn't even know about Aleister Crowley because he was over in, you know, in the European region. You know, but that's something that's pushed highly over here, Satanism. You know, because and that's known unto a wine. Philosophy is known unto a wine. So you're going to be so gone off make like a wine is another philosophy, make America great again. That's ultimately what you're going to do by any means necessary. And that's ultimately bringing forth this. Jeremiah 30:7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Proverbs 20:1. Why? Because wine is a mocker. Strong drink is raging. So it's a strong drink. You're a madman off your own philosophy. You're a mad scientist, and whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. So he's not about to act wise. He's gonna come down having great wrath. The scriptures tell you anger rested. Anger rests in the bosom of fools, man. Because you're gonna do something that's ultimately you're gonna regret, because it's about to bring the destruction of yourself. Let's see if I can get it. Yeah, Ecclesiastes 7:9, written by Solomon, wisest man that ever lived, who's actually Yahushua. It says, "Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools." Right? So it's just so many ways to just go on Esau, night and day. That's what these goats, they're coming down raging. They're basically like out of control. If you look at it spiritually, it says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in." This is a sign from the heavens, man, from the Lord Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea." So it'd be better if we was. That's why we're gonna be beamed up. We're gonna rejoice in the heavens, man, because we're gonna see the destruction that's getting ready to come down. Ultimately, once the so-called white man comes down, as it's going on to say, "Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil has come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time." Right? So that's what that's talking about, man. It's all hell is about to break loose, man, due to the philosophy that the white man he's gotten high off his own supply, man. It's written. I'm gonna get one last scripture by the Spirit, because it's the main point I wanted. Isaiah 55:19, and it reads, it says, let's see if that's even right. Put this in a minute. Let's see. That's heavy. Let me get that. It says, it's likened unto the white man in this instance. It says, you know what? You get all of this. It says, the Lord, we start at 8. The Lord, or Yahweh Most High Power, which gathereth the outcast of Israel, yet saith, "Yet will I gather others to him, besides those that are gathered unto him. All ye beasts of the field come to devour. Yeah, all ye beasts in the forest." That's what they invaded and did. They were eating people's plants, people's landscaping, etc. Those goats was doing that. It says, that's a beast of the field. It says, his watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Yeah, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough. And they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, everyone for his gain, from his corner. You see that? So that's everything we was just going into, because it said that the goat is independent, man. The goat is independent. They look out for themselves, even though they were all together, But that's all they do. Like, there's nothing wrong with working out your own salvation with fear and trembling. We're not saying that. What the message is that the so-called white man differs from you, because that's all he's concerned about is himself. He doesn't apply love thy brother as thyself. He applies do as thou wilt, So if you want to murder your brother, you can murder your brother. Just like Cain and Abel. Once again, duality, right? You people gonna really understand this, and once the Lord stops. This is really serious. Something like these things taking place, man. And I'm gonna get a comment I seen on that video. "Come ye, say they, I will fetch wine, and we will fill ourselves with strong drink, and tomorrow shall be as this day, and much more abundant." So That's the spirit of the so-called white man. And a lot of you Jakes, you know what I'm saying, is under that influence, you know, which is why you're off, because you're not being how you're supposed to be. These is just how these people are. That's why Esau there's no mercy that's about to be given to him. Isaiah 59:19, it says, so shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard upon him, against him. Salakia. Let me get it one more time. Isaiah 59:19. So shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood. You know? So they're gonna come in, you know, at a high number, man. That's what those goats did. They came in like a straight flood. You know? Streams, rivers, and rivers represents people, man. That's what it's talking about, a flowing. There's gonna be a flowing of people, man, of Edomites that come in, those troopers. They're gonna come in and pull you people out of your homes, man. That's what they already done started doing, looking for whoever supposedly has the coronavirus. You know, that's their new warrant. You know, it's not gonna be streams of milk and honey either. It's gonna be streams of swords, man. Of Edomites, mad men going off philosophy, getting the order from their chief, their head, who's a shepherd that understands not, you know what I'm saying, telling them kill by all means necessary. Anything that moves, man, is written, man. Waters represent people, because a flood is what? It's usually when we just went into it, is rivers, you know? It's rivers and streams right here. But you can have a flood of anything. That's the point. That's why it has flood right here. Nahar.
Strong's H 5104. Nahar. Nahar.
Stream, river. See that? Streams, man. Now we're gonna prove it real quick, and Lord willing, you know, this be it. 17 and 15. It says, and he said unto me, the waters which, Revelation 17 and 15, he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are people. Peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, man. So waters can represent people. As you should understand with semen, you know? So it's spiritual, man. Let me get this last scripture. I believe this should be it. It says, let me get this. It says, 1 Corinthians 2, and 3. And I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much trembling. And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom. So I'm not coming with a smooth words, you know, a peace prosperity doctrine. You know, how you can get rich and get a Corvette and Maserati and all of that. Bugatti. It says, but in the demonstration of the Spirit and of the power. So, that your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God. So, all the goats got loose, you know, that's all it was. No, man, that's something very spiritual. Where did those goats come from? Why are they goats? And why did it happen? You know, when it happened? You know, what's the purpose of goats? You know, why did the Creator make these goats? And what's their natures? You know? And why was it only goats? And why did they come in? How did they can't come in, man? That your faith should not stand in the wisdom of man, but in the power of God, of Yahweh Bashem and Yahweh Shah. It says, howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect. Who was perfect? The Thom. So that's started with, you know, Jacob, but the elect of Jacob. Yet not the wisdom of this world, nor the princes of this world that come to naught. because do as thou wilt is brought to nothing. Jay-Z, you're following that. You're a Jake, man. You're of the house of Jacob, which is an Israelite, man. He went on to have his name changed to Israel, which means power with man and with God. So you have power with God. You're going to get your power by connecting back to the true power who only deals with your bloodline, your race, you know, Israel. Yasha Allah. That's what Israel means. That's how you say Israel in Hebrew. Yah being he, Shar being prince, Allah, where you get Allah meaning power, right? God just means power. Yasha Allah, not do as thy wilt by Aleister Crowley. See? It says, let me jump down. 10, what's the point? But Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, had revealed them unto us. We start back at 7. But we speak the wisdom of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, in a mystery, right? It's a mysterious thing we speak about. You guys talking about goats and how it's gonna be floods and all of this other stuff, and you don't get it, man. But we're gonna get the point of why I went into that, bro. And I'm gonna close out. Even the hidden wisdom, which Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, ordained before the world unto our glory, right? Because it's ultimately gonna be our glory, us speaking these things. It was ordained before the world, before we even came down here to do this and into existence to do this, to bring this out. It's gonna manifest to be our glory in the end. Watch verse 10. But Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, hath revealed them unto us. So revealed, that means to show, you know, something that was closed and hidden and secret, you know, by his spirit. For the spirit searcheth all things, yeah, the deep things of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, right? Let's get that word revealed. The spirit just rolling right now, man. It's just rolling. It's hot. It says, revealed. Let's get revealed. Oh, man.
Strong's G601, Apocalypto.
Where you get the Apocrypha from, because Apocrypha means hidden. So when you go into revealed, it's Apocalypto, which means to uncover, lay open what has been veiled or covered up. So when we open up the Apocrypha, we're opening it with the Apocalypto, you know what I'm saying? Which is basically a spiritual key the Father has given us, man. You know, through the Spirit, the Raka'ah. The clothes make bare, to make known, make manifest, to close what was before unknown, you know? So you people couldn't understand. It's people in that neighborhood probably really trying to understand why did that just happen, man? You know? They say right here, Matthew 10:26, fear them not, therefore, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, right? Apocalypto, and hid that shall not be known, right? So it's nothing that for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed. Really, what you seen was a visual of what's getting ready, that's been written to happen for thousands of years now, take place in the form of a goat just coming. You know what I'm saying? And that just covered you people's spiritual eyes, your true eyes. You know? So there is nothing for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and hid that shall not be known. You know? So that's pretty much it on it, man. That's pretty much what I want to bring out. You're gonna know what these goats went on to represent, man, by the Spirit. You know, and the scriptures say that in Amos 3:7, surely the Lord power, or Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, shall do nothing. You know, the Lord, he will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto his servants, the prophets, man. So he revealed, man. He reveals, right? So, you know what? I want to get that. Because the scriptures say, ensure, it says, give diligence to ensure your election, man. So we got to, with haste, you know, get to this understanding, man. It's, what did I just quote? Oh, yeah, Amos 3:7. Let's get that. And that's balance too. Let me get that real quick. Can two walk together except they be agreed? You see that? Balance. Two. Esau and Jacob was never agreed. So that's why the so-called white man is about to come down on the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, and the rest of you inhabitants of his earth, of his society, because he wants to bring forth the Georgia Guidestones, as far as keeping the population under 500,000 and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's why there's only elite a family set up at the top that actually control and finance everything that they want on earth, and no one else eats off of anything. That's why you gotta continuously pay on a home, even if you went on to buy it, you gotta pay property tax. No one should be able to take you off a home when we got all this space on the earth, man. It makes no sense, you know. And he's not agreeing with that moral so-called white man who leaves this earth. Tells you that 2 Ezra 6 and 9, a book that in the scriptures that they took out from the complete Bible to be marked as hidden, which is what the word apocrypha means. In that book, in those hidden scriptures by the so-called white man, it tells you that his end is coming. He the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of the next that follow it. Right? So that's what he knows his end to be, and that's why he's about to go crazy. And he knows that it's the duality between you two, between Jacob and Esau. He knows he's Esau. He knows blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indian people are Israelites, man, are Jacob, man. And they are morally and ethically pure. They lack nothing. That's just not who he is, man. It's just not who he is. So he ultimately is going to come get his little brother first. Those that represent Jacob, his descendants. That's what he's going to do. And he's going to use some of his own descendants, some of Jacob's own descendants, to get the rest of his own descendants. You know? Their own people. Then he's going to get you. So-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians that may think you officers and chief officers and police forces and firefighters and Navy SEALs and Marines and, you know, soldiers in the armies, cadets and generals and commander generals and etc., man. Sergeants, lieutenants, all of this crap, man. FEMA camp workers, you know. He about to really show you, man. You're not agreed. You're not like him, man. You're not really about that life, man. You know? So surely the Lord, Yahweh, or Yahweh power, surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. Because the Lord a boss. He can do what he want to do. He's the boss, man. Right? Yahweh, man. It says, let's get that word for, you know, reveal. And it's Galah.
Strong's H 1540. Galah. Galah.
So you got Galah and you got apocalypto in the Greek for reveal, to uncover, remove, same thing, man. To remove, depart, discover, show oneself. So this is about to be revealed. It's being revealed now. It's just up to you, up to the Lord, if you see it or not, man. This is what's getting ready to come. Lord willing, this is the edifying. The floods, the troops about to flood in. Esau represents these goats, man. The power of the earth right now, so-called white man. He's about to send his troopers in, and you people on lockdown right now, you keep promising these stupid stimulus checks too. They about to come in and take everything you had your desire set on from you, away from you, man. Lord willing, this has been edifying. Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shah by Hashem, Akadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the faithful elect of Yasha Allah. Shalom.